Mitchell said it plainly. Caitlin makes her better.
I think their strength, for one, is always, from a physical standpoint, her strength and her ability to now make plays that people don't think about. Whether it's that skip to skip. I mean, you know, a person of her caliber, it seems small, but it's going to make her go from having 25 to having 28, or 10 assists to 12 assists.
It's a full-blown war of words between the old guard and the new face of the league. And Swoopes made it very clear she's not done. So why is a Hall of Famer launching verbal missiles at a rookie-led team? Is this just jealousy or something deeper? What happens next could shake the entire WNBA. In a bold new interview, Mitchell exposed the truth. Veterans are lining up to join Indiana. The culture is stronger than ever. And yes, Caitlin Clark is part of the reason why. The chemistry, off the charts. The energy, different. The trust, real. And what Mitchell revealed about her relationship with Clark will have Swoopes backtracking fast. Off the charts. The energy, different. The trust, real. And what Mitchell revealed about her relationship with Clark will have Swoopes backtracking fast. This isn't just a response, it's a reputation collapse. Because when you see how united this team really is, you'll realize the WNBA's biggest critic just became its most misinformed voice. She tried to question the respect inside the locker room. She tried to divide the team with outdated narratives. But she missed the most important part. This isn't about attention. This is about alignment. Mitchell and Clark trust each other. That trust is growing into chemistry. That chemistry is turning into momentum. And that momentum, it's starting to look like a problem for every other team in the league. Swoopes didn't just question the decision, she lit up the entire Fever organization, and her target wasn't just the front office.
Sheryl Swoopes, back in the news, getting pushback from fans, calling out Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, calling out Stephanie White. Oh, I don't know about coaching decisions, blah, 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 blah.
She didn't just imply tension, she named names. According to Swoopes, even Kelsey Mitchell was unhappy. But now, that entire claim has blown up in her face.
And here's where I think they didn't do a very good job, and that was with Kelsey Mitchell, who's an unrestricted free agent, because Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season. And I don't think she got the credit that she deserves.
Kelsey Mitchell didn't stay silent.
Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
And when a veteran like Mitchell welcomes a rising star like Clark with open arms and calls it fun, competitive, and refreshing, it tells you one thing. This locker room isn't divided, it's unified, and it's dangerous. The WNBA legend just took a blowtorch to the Indiana Fever, and Caitlin Clark is caught in the crossfire.
Come out here and just hate for the sake of hating.
Yeah.
If you don't, shut Sheryl Swoopes. How about that? Caitlin Clark is nice. Like, what are you doing? And so, you know, she's probably going to go number 1 to the Indiana Fever, and that's dope to me.
Coaching, the leadership, the vibe, all of it has changed. Mitchell emphasized how players feel wanted, valued, and motivated. That alone directly contradicts Swoopes' claim that no one wants to play in Indiana. In fact, Mitchell went a step further. She said, everyone wants to be here. She said it clearly. She said it with confidence. And she made it clear this wasn't just lip service. Even when she's not involved in a decision, her name gets pulled into the headlines. She didn't cut Bree Hall. She didn't waive Yvonne Ejim. She didn't hand Sophie Cunningham extra minutes. But when you're the face of a franchise, when you're the one selling out arenas, you're guilty by association. That's the weight Clark now carries. Therefore, every cut, every contract, every coaching choice, it all loops back to her.
No, but players who will be free agents next year, there's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Sheryl Swoopes said no one wants to play in Indiana. She said veterans avoid the fever, that Kelsey Mitchell felt unappreciated, that Caitlin Clark couldn't carry a franchise.
When I think about preseason, it really isn't so much for your players that you know are returning, the players that you know are going to make the team, but it's more about, I'm not sure about this particular player. Let me get her in a real life game situation and see how she handles that. But I'm also going to probably play her a few minutes with my starters, right?
Coach White, she's giving this team its identity, built on accountability, versatility, and culture. Not hype, not marketing, just results. And maybe that's what's most threatening to someone like Sheryl Swoopes. Because if this Fever team really is for real, if Mitchell and Clark really are aligned, it means the WNBA isn't just changing. It means it's evolving without permission from the old guard. She didn't sugarcoat last year. She admitted it didn't feel right. The energy was off. The culture wasn't clicking. But this year, it's already better.
It makes it easier. I remember this time last year, it didn't feel good. So we had to get that in order first, in order for people to start playing well. It's like a domino effect. But I think once your culture is kind of established, how you guys see it now, I think it makes everything else way easier. I don't know if that makes sense, but way easier. It makes sense.
Others believe Swoopes is right, that something deeper is going on behind closed doors. And that's exactly what makes this story so explosive. Because no matter where you stand, the truth is clear. This isn't over. Swoopes made it clear she's not letting this go. Every time the Fever make a roster decision, she's watching. Every time Clark's name trends, she'll be ready to speak up. And every time a veteran like Cunningham outshines a younger, less protected player, there's going to be fallout. Therefore, when Mitchell, the very player Swoopes accused of being unhappy, goes out of her way to uplift Caitlin Clark as a teammate, it doesn't just prove they're aligned. It proves Swoopes couldn't have been more wrong.
WNBA MVPs in your career, would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't. Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
Not defensive, not careful, just brutally honest and proud. She described the new atmosphere as fresh, comparing it to pulling warm clothes straight out of the dryer.
For us, with the new atmosphere, new coaching, everything is just absolutely new. It feels really good. It feels fresh. It's kind of like when you take your clothes out the dryer, kind of like fresh. It feels different, and it feels good because we have new leadership, we got new players, we got vet leadership, and so I think all that combined just makes for a good atmosphere right now. It feels good.
I know. But I did have a question though with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You actually had players who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing, but anyway, it is what it is.
Well, I have nothing but great things to say about Stephanie. From the time I was in China playing and her trying to get me back here, and the leadership that she took to make sure I felt welcome and felt safe coming back and playing under her. She's done an unbelievable job with all of us one by one and making sure we all feel different but in a good way. And I think with her leadership along with the assistant coaches, we've already cultivated how we want to play, and so that already feels good as a player coming from Stephanie.
It's also telling that Mitchell, an unrestricted free agent, chose to return to Indiana this offseason. It was about who gets a chance to succeed and who gets cut before even stepping onto the floor.
Okay, example, the Washington Mystics Indiana Fever game. Because I know on social media, people were like, well, why aren't the starters in for the Mystics? They could win this game. And I was there, right? Because preseason is about, yes, you're going to play your starters, you're going to play your players. Typically, they don't even play that many minutes, right? Because you have so many players on your roster that you got to make roster cuts. So you're still trying to figure out who can fit what we're doing.
But what made this moment hit hardest was what Mitchell revealed about their personal relationship. We built our chemistry 2 years ago, Mitchell said.
And C-Square established that 2 years ago now. So I think everything with us is going to always be kosher and really put together because we've already established who we were as people and as players and how we can help make each other better. So it feels good to me already.
That off-court bond is now becoming their on-court weapon. They talk, they teach, they challenge each other, and they do it without ego. Mitchell was crystal clear about this. No one is trying to be the alpha. Everyone is trying to listen, lead, and build something that lasts. Swoopes wasn't subtle. She accused the Fever of protecting certain players, not based on performance, but based on something else.
This is gonna be a spicy season, cause Kiki was like, "What, Sophie? Girl, don't come over here." Sophie was like,
already,
I was
game
here
one.
Here for it. But the fact that's a rookie, right?
I know.
Kiki,
She did not back down.
But she just turned and laughed. She was like, What did you say? What are we doing?
And just like that, race, favoritism, and power were thrown into the center of the WNBA's biggest preseason storyline. Sheryl Swoopes claimed no one wanted to play in Indiana. She said the culture was broken, that stars were uneasy, that veterans stayed away.
No, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
But everything we've seen and everything we've heard says the opposite. Kelsey Mitchell stayed. DeWanna Bonner signed. Natasha Howard joined. Sydney Colson brought championship DNA. And Brianna Turner, who many thought would clash with Caitlin Clark, is instead running flawless sets with her and embracing the challenge.
But she just turned and laughed. She was like, What did you say? What are we doing?
And just like that, race, favoritism, and power were thrown into the center of the WNBA's biggest preseason storyline.
Because you got to wonder if there's not something else that's motivating said comments. All right, just especially when you're talking about two young blonde-headed ladies on a basketball team, and you have a black player that just got cut, and Sheryl Swoopes is not happy about that.
Therefore, this wasn't just a personnel move. It became a lightning rod for a deeper conversation. Two rookies, cut, gone before the season even starts. But instead of blaming the front office, Swoopes turned her sights on the Fever's rising star and the coach who dared to build around her. Her words, brutal accusations of favoritism, a full-on takedown of Fever head coach Stephanie White.
What other white girls can I tune up from the Indiana Fever? Yeah, here we are. My goodness, I mean, we've had 2 preseason games. 2! And we're back to it. We're back here. She's criticizing Stephanie White. I bet Sheryl Swoopes hates that last name.
That's right. Before Clark ever played a WNBA minute, she and Mitchell had already connected through mutual respect, competition, and conversation.
Up-tempo, fast. Obviously, you know how me, C-Squared, all those guys are. But I think when we cultivate DB and your older ones in it, I think we're going to have more of a winning culture and not just playing fast. So now we get the best of both worlds. Culture. And I think once you establish the respect in the room, the environment is always is value with that. I think those days that are tough that you do have to give grace for, it's respect behind it. We don't expect perfection right now, but we do expect discipline and we expect hard work. So if we could cultivate that and then give ourselves some grace when it's time to go win games, I think we will.
But here's the twist that nobody expected. Sophie Cunningham isn't backing down. When Swoopes questioned why Sophie was getting minutes over rookies like Hall, the Fever vet didn't respond with a press release or a passive quote. She laughed, she smirked, and she made it very clear she heard the criticism and didn't care. Then she went out on the court and proved exactly why she belongs. In the Fever's exhibition against Brazil, Cunningham played with fire. She didn't just hustle, she owned the moment. Defense, communication, leadership, everything a veteran is supposed to bring, she brought in full force. Therefore, it's no surprise that the Fever are sticking by her. Chemistry matters. And in a season where every headline is a distraction, you need players who can handle the chaos, not add to it. This is coming from a veteran who's averaged nearly 20 points per game for years. And she's openly praising the basketball IQ of someone in just her second season. And it wasn't just compliments, it was clarity.
Oh, girl, C-Squared. She's keep, I think she does a really great job of You know, I think Caitlin specifically is a household name, and I think that she's going to continue to, you know, bring in the arena and kind of like put us in a position to have all the fans in the world. So, I mean, I obviously hats off to her, but, you know, I give her grace because it's a lot to take on. I think she's done a really good job with it.
Mitchell explained how their styles complement each other. Clark's court vision opens driving lanes. Her range stretches the defense. Her presence makes life easier for scorers like Mitchell because now defenders can't load up on one threat. These women aren't avoiding the fever. They're flocking to it. Why? Because for the first time in years, Indiana isn't just rebuilding, it's believing. And that belief is centered around 3 people: Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and coach Stephanie White.
Well, I think the biggest benefit, you know, obviously there's the aspect of having a new coach and a lot of new teammates. So in that regard, like, it's still a learning process and trying to figure your teammates out and figure out the new system. But the pace and the physicality and all of that, you're used to it, you're ready for it, you're ready for at the speed of how things are going to move. I think that having that under your belt is kind of what's helped me the most here. But at the same time, like, it's a learning process for all of us. There's, you know, most of the team here and most of the girls here are new players. So and the ones that have come back, you know, new coach, we're just trying to learn in the same way and build relationships with our teammates. So similar in that regard, but at the same time, you know, having a year under my belt is really helpful.
Mitchell is no longer carrying the franchise alone.